Ingrid Otto had wanted her savings to be safe, so she told the man from Citibank she didn't want to take any risks. He advised her to invest in a US bank. When it went bust, Ingrid Otto lost her savings, 10,000 euros in all.
Nun ist man natürlich so traurig einfach.
Of course I'm sad.
Traurig, verzweifelt.
Sad, desperate, because the money is gone, and it was a lot of money for me. I can't describe how I feel. And unfortunately, it's not just me. Many, many others are in the same boat. It's been a really nasty business.
Es ist eine ganz, ganz böse Geschichte gewesen.
German investors have lost their faith in the skills of corporate managers. The international financial crisis has hit Germany full blast, storming through customers' accounts and savings. Fury over these losses is directed towards those responsible. Leading financiers have long been playing a risky stock market game, and they didn't foresee the collapse nor raise the alarm to do anything to halt it. Now the general public wants them to bear the consequences.
Their selfishness had become normal. I really think they deserve to be punished.
They deserve massive fines, but most of them have got generous payoffs. That's the problem. I wouldn't give them anything. I take their homes away so they know what it feels like.
There should be more thorough investigation and no entering into quick deals. Experience shows that files are closed quickly when managers are prepared to pay for their errors with company money.
Last month, Munich's public prosecutor's office investigated the Hypo real estate bank. It was suspected that the previous board of directors had deceived investors about the state of the bank, which now requires billions in government aid. Wrongly assessing risk is not a crime, but concealing the situation is. It could take investigators months to prove that was the case, if ever.
These are all questions of proof that can only be answered by evaluating all the documents, looking at all the email traffic and other papers, scrutinizing minutes of meetings of the board of directors, and so on.
Lawyers say the outlook is bleak. Felix Weigand, who is suing Hypo Real Estate on behalf of more than 50 injured parties, must prove that the bankers deliberately waited too long to tell them about the increased risk. But time is short. Politicians have pushed through a short statute of limitations for the finance sector. Why does the public have the feeling big guys always get away with it, leaving small ones to pay?
That's not a feeling, it's a fact. That has to be said. I think if you're involved in the area of banking, capital and insurance, you're handled with kid gloves by the courts and the lawmakers.
Nach meiner Einschätzung mit Samthandschuhen angefasst.
A draft bill on the personal liabilities of managers who fail in their duties has been on the political back burner for 5 years, but has yet to be implemented. Tough penalties for top decision makers are extremely unlikely in Germany.
Because in the end, such incredibly long, drawn-out and complex and complicated legal proceedings will result, and I'll be very careful how I say this, in a controversial stalemate. The state prosecutor says, we're on the case. It was a failure of duty that led to greatly increased risk. And the defense will submit that this wasn't how it appeared to responsible bankers. And you can't convict anyone in a situation like that.
Legal experts disagree on whether stricter laws would limit companies too much. The sticking point will always be whether the actions taken were bold or just irresponsible.
The figure of justice holds a sword in her hand for a reason. You can only strike or let it go. And as a criminal law expert, you have to consider carefully whether to strike with both hands. People say be cautious. It's the state's sharpest weapon. What has happened here must be clearly criminal.
If someone does their job and does it really badly, who gets the reward? I don't, you don't, but the managers do. I don't understand why such laws are even possible.
Ingrid Otto wants policymakers to make things easier for the courts and lay down clear rules for the finance world. She thinks this will make it easier to prove irresponsibility and a lack of ability in the boardroom, as well as introducing legal guidelines that provide a measure of justice for ordinary citizens too.